What's up everyone, Mark here, and today we are going to make some thin and crispy chocolate chip cookies. Now these are not the first cookies we've made on this channel, and they're certainly not even the first chocolate chip cookies that we've made on this channel. In fact, there's a whole playlist of just cookies. But this is the first time that we have tried a thin, crispy chocolate chip cookie. Thin and crispy cookies are my favorite kind of cookie overall, and chocolate chip cookies are one of my favorites, so thin and crispy chocolate chip cookies are right up there. It's a little bit more difficult to achieve this. We're going to make some changes to the ingredients. We're going to use cake flour instead of all-purpose flour, mix up the sugars a little bit, and see what we can come up with. But before we get into the recipe, I want to thank you all again so much for continuing to watch these videos and continuing to support the channel. Please give the video a thumbs up if you like it, or a thumbs down if you don't. And either way, tell me what you think down in the comments. Please consider subscribing if you haven't already. Just click the red button down below or the watermark logo in the corner of the video. And when you do, make sure you hit the bell icon so you get a notification every time I have a new video out. All right, let's get at those cookies. So these are pretty easy cookies to make as cookies go. I am going to use my stand mixer to make this a little bit easier. No reason you couldn't use a hand mixer or even do this by hand if you needed to. So our ingredients are 1 1/4 cup of cake flour. Again, we're using cake flour because of the difference in protein content, and that should help towards the goal of a thinner, crispier cookie. We've got 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, and we have 3/4 teaspoon of salt. We have 8 tablespoons of butter, which has been melted and then allowed to cool back to room temperature. For sugar, we're going to need either 1/3 cup of white sugar and 1/3 cup of dark brown sugar, or what I'm doing here, what I tend to do most of the time, as of late at least, is just using all white sugar and then adding molasses to make up the dark brown sugar or the light brown sugar as needed. In this case, 2/3 cup of white sugar and 1 teaspoon of molasses is going to be the equivalent of 1/3 cup of white sugar and 1/3 cup of dark brown sugar. And again, just easier to have fewer ingredients around. We then have 2 egg yolks, 1 1/2 tablespoons of whole milk, or 1 tablespoon plus 1 1/2 teaspoons. We have 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, and we have 3/4 cup of mini semi-sweet chocolate chips. Mini because we want these to be able to distribute, again, more evenly through thinner cookies and just get more chocolate in every bite. So the first thing we're going to do is pretty simple. We're going to add our baking soda and salt to the flour. And just whisk that together. All right, so to the bowl of our stand mixer, we are going to add the butter. And the sugar. And molasses. And we are just going to beat this on low speed until it's combined and it lightens up a little bit in color, just a couple of minutes. And scrape down the sides just a little bit. Okay, now we're going to add our egg yolks. Milk and vanilla, and we're going to continue to mix this just until it's well combined, uniform. Okay, now we want to slowly add our flour, and the object here is to not overmix this. So we're going to add this in thirds, slowly mixing it in. Once all of the flour is in there and it's mostly combined, we're going to do the last mixing by hand just to make sure that we're not overbeating it. And the last of the flour. So it's just about come together. I'm gonna go ahead and scrape down the beater. And as I said, we're gonna just scrape down the sides and give this one more little mix by hand. Make sure there's no more loose flour in there. And now we're going to add our chocolate chips. And again, just going to fold these in minimally. All right, that looks pretty good. All right, we are ready to get these onto some cookie sheets and into the oven. Okay, so this is going to tend to be a bit of a sticky dough. So we're going to be measuring it out into rounded tablespoonfuls. I've got a greased tablespoon measure, a little bowl with a little drizzle of vegetable oil, and another spoon just to kind of help if needed, if things really start sticking together. So we're gonna do these, I think, about 8 per sheet, give or take, assuming I get about 16 cookies out of this. And we are going to be baking these one at a time. But let's get these dosed out. Okay, and the last little trick here is going to be to take wet fingers and press each of these down to about a ½ inch, just to give them a little head start on spreading and flattening out. Okay. And a little bit of dampness on top of the cookies isn't going to hurt anything. So these are going to go into a 350-degree oven for about 15 to 17-ish minutes each. And again, we're going to do one tray at a time just to be really controlled with the temperature and the evenness. We want these to brown evenly and be evenly firm and crispy. So I'm going to get the first sheet in, and we will come back when we're ready to take it out. Okay, so our first batch was out of the oven and is mostly cooled. Second batch also now out of the oven, and they all look great. We're going to give these about a ½ hour more for everything to be completely cool, and we will come back and give them a taste. Time to eat some cookies! All right, but first, I'm going to be enjoying my cookies today with some coffee milk, a Rhode Island delicacy. I've mentioned this in one other video, I believe. Just to say that it was a drink kind of like chocolate milk, only with a coffee extract sweetened syrup instead of chocolate syrup. It's thinner than chocolate syrup because, you know, there's no cocoa solids and things in it like there would be in chocolate syrup. But similar to chocolate syrup, you just mix some with some milk. Stir, and that is delicious. To give you something to compare it to, if you're not from Rhode Island and you have no idea, it's kind of like coffee ice cream. Imagine like coffee ice cream flavored milk. All right, let's see. One from the plate, one from the tray here. Sound crispy. It is crispy. I don't know if you can see that. like airy texture. Buttery, chocolatey. Oh, coffee milk hits the spot. Should I do a dunk? All right, time for a few more of these and get my blood sugar up, I guess. And that's it. Guys, thank you for watching all the way through the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, please give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down and comment either way down below, and we will see you in the next one.